Okay, here's our first video on powers of 10. It's the first video that we'll talk about, or that you'll watch in 5th grade, powers of 10. So what are powers? Now powers, we don't mean superpowers, right, like Captain America or Batman, right? I'm Batman. Well, actually Batman doesn't have superpowers, but when we talk about powers, there's another name for them. Powers are exponents. So what are exponents? Well, let me give you an example. So if I had a number, let's say 2, and I put a little number on top of it, that's the exponent. This little number is the exponent, or the power, and the big number is the base. So what does that mean? So the first thing we need to know is what are exponents and what are powers. So if I gave multiplication, let's say I had 2 times 2, and that's how we'll use the times sign in 5th grade. 2 times 2 times 2, right? It's also 2 times 2 times 2. But we're going to use mostly this dot sign in 5th grade, not the x's. So 2 times 2 times 2 is repeated multiplication. So there, instead of saying 2 times 2 times 2, which we know is 8, there's a shortcut with exponents. It's 2 to the 3rd power. 2 to the 3rd power is 8. It's 2 times 2 times 2. I'll give you another example. So the one we did earlier, this was 2 to the 2nd power, and that's just 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, so this one is 5 to the 2nd power. Now, when we use a 2 as an exponent, remember the small number is the exponent, or the power. And what is the big number? Do you remember? The big number is called the base. So the big number is the base, and the little number is the exponent. So here we're saying this is 5 squared, or it's 5 to the 2nd power. In repeated multiplication, it's 5 times 5. So what is the answer? 25. So 5 squared is 25. So again, there's other ways of saying it. We can say 5 squared, we can say 5 to the 2nd power, or we can say the 2nd power of 5. Okay, so let's do another one. See if you can answer this question. This is 4 to the 3rd power, and there's another name for 4 to the 3rd power. Anytime you see a 3, you can say this is 4 cubed. So anything with a 3 is cubed, and anything with a 2 is squared. So this is 4 cubed, or 4 to the 3rd power, or the 3rd power of 4. So in repeated multiplication, this is 4 times 4 times 4. Right, let's bring that up. So 4 times 4 times 4, make that look like a 4, not a 9. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So 4 cubed, or 4 to the 3rd power, is 64. Now everything we've been doing when we use exponents is we call it exponential form. So see if you can find what this answer is. This is 3 squared, or what other ways can we say it? We can say 3 to the 2nd power, or we can say the 2nd power of 3. So in repeated multiplication, this is 3 times 3. And standard form just means the normal number we would say. So 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 is in standard form. It's the answer in standard form. And 3 squared is how we write it in exponential form. Okay? How would you write this? The 5th power of 3. How would you write that? The 5th power of 3. So the key is here, 5th power. So it's 3 to the 5th power. In repeated multiplication, that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Make sure you have it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just repeated multiplication. You're multiplying the same number, the base, by what the exponent tells you. Don't do 3 times 5. It's not 3 times 5. It's 3 times itself 5 times. So that would be the 5th power of 3. And by the way, I won't ask you this question in 5th grade, but 3 to the 5th power is 243. 243 is the answer in standard form, and this is the answer in exponential form, and this is repeated multiplication. So those are powers. Now, you might come across the 0 power. The 0 power. Now, anytime you see an exponent that's 0, so let's say it was a 9 to the 0 power. 9 to the 0 power is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. 12 to the 0 power is 1. 506 to the 0 power is 1. What do you think 1 million to the 0 power would be? 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Now, powers of 10. With powers of 10, we can get the answer pretty quickly. We know that any number to the 0 power is 1. So 10 to the 0 power is 1. 10 to the first power is 10. The exponents with tens, if 10's the base, it's pretty easy. If 10's the base, the exponent tells you how many zeros you should have. So let's look at this. This is in exponential form, right? And this is in word form. And this is in standard form. 10 to the 0 power, any number to the 0 power is 1, and in word form it's 1. 10 to the first power, the exponent tells you we should have 1 0. Well, there's 1 0. It's 10. 10 to the second power, or 10 squared, and there's another name, does anyone know? The second power of 10. It says we should have 2 zeros. Here it is, 2, 100. What about these? See if you can do these two. You should pause the tape and try to do that. Okay, well, the exponent tells you we should have 3 zeros, so make a 1 and have 3 zeros. 1,000, and that'll be 1,000. And this one, 4 zeros. 10,000. So I'm sure you can do this one. 10 to the 6th power. How many zeros should I have? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 million. 10 to the 6th power is 1 million. Now, when we're doing powers of 10, all we have to do is find the exponent, and it tells us how many zeros we have. Do not do it with any other number. 9 to the 3rd power doesn't mean to add 3 nines. It's not 9 and 3 zeros. No. It only works with tens, powers of tens, which you can also use 100 and 1,000, but I'll go over that in another video. So again, don't use it with 9s or 8s or 7s or any other number, just tens. When you're doing with 9s or 3s or whatever other number, like we did earlier, like 5 to the 3rd power, it means to multiply the base, what the exponent tells you. 5 times 5 times 5. And this is 125, because 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 5 is 125. Okay? Let's do one more with the power of 10. By the way, sometimes you're going to see where the 1 is invisible. See, 10 to the 1st power, it should have 1 0, so we know the answer is 10. Sometimes you'll just see it as 10. You won't see an exponent with a 1. Okay? One other thing, though. Any number to the 1st power is going to be that number. So 9 to the 1st power is 9, and 11 to the 1st power is 11, and 100 to the 1st power is 100. Any number to the 1st power is going to be that number. It's going to be itself. So that's just something on that. So 156 to the 1st power is 156. Be the same number. And 156 to the 0 power, if you remember, any number to the 0 power is 1. Great job.